Hello, I'm Ben. Welcome to the channel. So I'll talk briefly today about a book that I read recently. It's called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, and it's by a gentleman with the last name Cormer. And I'll tell you, I didn't go out looking to buy this book. I actually bought a library from a gentleman who is moving, and this was one of the books in his library, and I picked it up, and I got to tell you, I didn't put it down. I read through it because I think it's highly suggestive for what we're going on, or what we see going on in the world today. And there's another book too that I've read right after this that I'll do a video in here shortly that kind of is the preliminary situation before this happens. So long story short, I can't speak for some reason. It talks about modeling our lives after Jesus, and it shows how far we've gone, specifically since the invent of the iPhone and all of the social media, how far we've gone away from a lifestyle that actually gives us any peace. Because as human beings, our desire is limitless, and if we allow the noise to continue, we will continue to participate because we're so greedy in that desire. Well, what this book talks about, hurry is basically a form of violence on the soul. Because if you spend your lifetime feeling overly rushed and overly energized, there's a lot of symptoms that come from hurry sickness. And that's what it was actually called back before the age of the iPhone. So let me read to you what the symptoms are for hurry sickness. Number one is irritability. You get mad, frustrated, or just annoyed way too easily. Normal things irk you. People have to tiptoe around you or have some low-grade negative. You have some form of low-grade negativity towards them. Next is hypersensitivity. It takes a minor comment to hurt your feelings, a grumpy email to set you off, or a little turn of events to throw you in an emotional funk and ruin your day. The third is restlessness. When you actually do try to slow down and rest, you can't relax. You feel like you can't unplug. Number four is workaholism, or just nonstop activity, basically being on the call, on the job 24/7. You just don't know when to stop, or worse, you can't stop. Another hour, another day, another week. Your drugs of choice are accomplishment and accumulation. Number five is emotional numbness. You just don't have the capacity to feel other people's pain. You don't show empathy very often. You just don't feel like you have the time to show empathy. Out of order priorities. You feel disconnected from your identity. You're always getting sucked into the tyranny of the moment, which is urgency. We've talked about books before about first things first and how important it is to do things as they should be done in order of importance. How urgency a lot of times takes over, and so what happens is everything becomes urgent because it wants to be the top thing on your priority list, when in actuality slowing down and focusing on things that matter most should be what we focus on. The seventh is lack of care for your body. You don't have time to exercise, sleep right, or eat right. So you gain weight, you get sick multiple times, you wake up more tired than you were when you went to bed. 8 is escapist behaviors. When you're too tired to do what's actually going on or what's actually going to be reviving for your souls, you turn off you turn on your distraction of choice, which is eating or binging TV or alcohol, etc. So escapist behaviors. Number 9 is slippage of spiritual disciplines. So if you're over busy, you stop participating in religious functions. You don't read your Bible. You don't do the things you should be doing. And the last is isolation. You feel disconnected from God. So naturally you feel disconnected from others. And you even feel disconnection from your own soul. So I'll say this. When I'm dealing with people that are having a tough time coping with their lives, the majority of issues that they have is brought onto them because they're not paying attention to what matters most, which is your relationship with God, right? And hurry kills what you hold dear. It kills your spirituality, your health, your marriage, your family, your thoughtful work, creativity, generosity, anything of value. Hurry damages of that. And I said something about that in a video the other day. You get to the point where you can't show empathy because you're in too much of a rush to take the time to show empathy. So I'll jump through the book to a little piece here where it says, What did Jesus say when he was talking about a lifestyle? And Jesus says this in Matthew 11. He says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." One of the things that I think is important in this life is that we emulate the ones that came before that are successful. That's the purpose of the channel. So Christians, that is to be Christ-like. That's who we're supposed to be emulating, right? So what I just read is how Jesus lived his life. Think about it. When his friend Lazarus was dying, Lazarus' family rushed to him and he said, "I'll be there soon enough. I'm coming." But he was busy doing his Father's work, preaching, teaching, and healing. And so he didn't arrive to where Lazarus was till 2 days later. And of course they were brokenhearted and he wept with them, but then he rose Lazarus from the dead. And in all that, he showed no rush, no hurry, because he knew he is here to do what God sent him to do, which was all things in accordance to his purpose. So Jesus never was rushed. The best gift I can give to you as a leader or just an individual is don't allow things to get you in a state of rushing around. There should be a regularity to the schedule. If you want to be something that someone trusts, if you want to be somebody that people can rely on, then you have to have a schedule that allows them to do so. Having a situation where you do first things first, and just because someone doesn't plan and now they have an emergency, that doesn't mean it's your emergency. So you have to handle things in order that they come to you, and you do what you can. Your life style is a byproduct of what you do. So the way you organize your time, the way you spend your money, that ultimately is what you're investing in, right? That's what you will be. One of the quotes that's really good here says, "Every system is perfectly designed to get the results it gets." I know that sounds unimpressive, but the point is, if you keep doing the same things over and over, it's going to net the same result, right? I believe that this book is correct in calling these things out. Observing a Sabbath day is something that we're supposed to do. 2 gifts came from God the Father. The first was marriage. The second was the Sabbath. The Sabbath is the last day of the week, which is Saturday. We were supposed to take Saturday and do nothing. We're supposed to worship and pray and be with our loved ones and celebrate being with them and cut everything else off. This is something that I intend to do as well. I've actually made a list here of things that I'm going to do. For a Saturday Sabbath, I'm going to start doing this myself because I think it's a great suggestion. By unplugging, the number one thing on that is to cut the cell phone off and leave it in the other room for the entire day. So the way I look at that is like midnight Friday night to midnight Saturday night, or Sunday morning rather, to unplug and simply spend time reading the Bible, reading books that are Christian-related books or biblically supported books about different things throughout the Bible, prophecies, prophets, things of that nature, to gain more wisdom. That's what I intend to do. Of course, you can use that to what you think it is. But when we read the stories of Jesus, his joy, his resolute peace through all uncertainty, his unanxious presence, his relaxed manner, and how the moment he was thinking about the moment and he was doing what was there present with him and in front of him, that is what everyone that is elderly says when people ask, "What's your greatest regret?" And they say things like, "I was too worried. I let myself be unhappy for no reason. The secret to life is enjoying the moment, enjoying where you are, when you are, etc." And that's kind of what I want the understanding of the video to be. One, the importance of taking a Sabbath and unplugging from everything in the world, because the world has taken over everything that we do. There's news 24/7. There's videos 24/7. There's all this stuff pounding us all day long, every day. From the time we open our eyes to the time we close our eyes, you can't even buy an alarm clock anymore. We're so dedicated to this, and it's such a pushed thing on all people that you're all use your cell phones as your alarm clock. You don't have a normal alarm clock anymore. So the first thing you do in the morning is literally grab a hold to that phone. And that's kind of one of the call outs that I think is worth mentioning here, is that as human beings, the best thing we can do to save our souls and to give ourselves rest so then we can adequately fight the battles that we do have in front of us, is to take a Sabbath, to take time, and in the evenings have a time where we unplug. Don't answer emails after work hours. Don't let people text you or call you and expect to get an instant reply or an instant response. I had a conversation one time with a family member, and this is back when cell phones had first begun their proliferation, and everybody didn't have one, but people did, and I did because I ran 3 businesses at the time. And I had a conversation with a family member that was upset that when they call me, I don't answer. And I'm like, well, I'm not at your beck and call. I have things I'm responsible for. I have people that I pay. I have clients that I serve. So I'll get back to you when I get back to you. So the expectation had moved that quickly when we went from a time period of landlines and answering systems to when we went to a time of having cell phones. It was just a period of about 5 years where that made the proliferation so rapidly. But that was the expectation had changed so dramatically and with false understanding, because I'm not one that's going to be at a beck and call. And email, I think personally, it was supposed to be the way we do work. I think email is one of the worst distractions that people have to this day. And of course, I'm not talking about what we use for entertainment when it comes to YouTube or TikTok or any other junk that people look at on the phone 24/7. But to go through this and kind of get the final point across, if you just take an hour a day to enjoy God and you don't do anything else, you can't go wrong by doing that. You're allowing yourself to reset. If we don't start paying attention to this and give ourselves some time and maybe start giving ourselves a Sabbath, what you do is you feel distant from God. You end up living off of someone else's spirituality, or just seeing Bible verses on Facebook is what a lot of people do. That's the only time they read their Bible is when they see a verse on Facebook. But it may have been altered, or it may have been something done according to someone else's purpose. You're not reading it directly from the Bible. We feel distant from ourselves. We lose sight of our identities and our callings, the things that feel most important to us. We feel an undercurrent of anxiety. We think things are going to go the wrong way always because we feel hurried. We feel rushed. We get exhausted when we wake up. Our first thoughts are we're already tired. You don't get any rest. You have a deeper kind of tired every day. We turn to our escapes of choice, run out of energy. So what do? Where we should be praying and getting rest, we may turn to drinking, social media, streaming, or even worse, porn seems to be a situation that's rising with aggressive tenacity at the moment across people of all ages. The next is we become easy prey for the tempter, just furthering our distance from God and our souls. And then emotional unhealth sets in. We start living for the surface of our lives and not replenishing our core. I think this book is a good read. I think everybody should take a look at it. I think we should be aware of what we're doing to ourselves in the relationship that we have with our phone and how we use phones to drive our lives and what we have going on. First, it came as a pocket organizer and a planner and everything else. And guys, that's really what I would tell you to do. Step back from things and allow your phone to be cut off at some point. So the book is The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, and this is by John Comer. It's a decent read. It's a pretty quick read. I would suggest that you take a look at that and try to get yourself out of that if you find yourself in it. I've mentioned many times on the channel before, I use an old school planner. I write today, on tomorrow, the things that I need to do, the things of importance, and what time. I write what time my appointments are in there as well. And so every day I feel controlled and contained and have my expectations well at hand with what I've got to do that day because I have it written in that planner. And I've used that planner or that exact planner and that style planner since I think 1992 or 93. And it served me well. So I would suggest doing things like that to help yourself. One of the common things that I find with today's leadership, and I've coached leaders on this on every team that I've been on, about multitasking and doing those type things. Multitasking is just doing a lot of things poorly. Okay? Controlling what you're doing first things first, having the correct order, giving God a part of your day, praying, stopping for prayer. And if you work at a desk all day long, get up every other hour and take a walk for 10 or 15 minutes to fill up a water bottle or to go to the bathroom or do those things, and leave your phone and stuff at the desk when you do that. So you can actually unplug for a little bit and let your brain relax, let your eyes relax. Where you feel like your eyes are burned out from staring at screens all day long, give yourself a break from those things. If you don't get some rest somewhere, what happens is your health fails and you don't have an opportunity to get rest. Now you have to recover. Okay, so great suggestion, great topic. I hope it's useful to you. If it is, please please subscribe. If you know someone that may get some benefit from this, please send this video to them, share it with them. Once again, there's a view of that book. It's definitely worth a read. It's a quick read. He goes off on some tangents here and there, but it's a pretty quick read. I think I read it in like 2 days with other things going on too. So check that out if you get a chance. Please please subscribe. I'm Ben. Be good.